Hi, this is Deboki, and I did my non-spoiler review of Crooked Kingdom, but I still had some thoughts, so I wanted to make a separate, more spoilery discussion. This is still not going to be like a coherent verbal essay or anything, just a more general list of some thoughts I've had since reading the book. So first, I love the relationship between Kaz and Inej so much. I think it really takes into account their previous traumas without really making them seem like this dysfunctional pair who will never get it right. I think that Crooked Kingdom did a really good job, especially of advancing the relationship without making the payoff seem unrealistic or cheap. It doesn't come easy to either of them, but it doesn't trade too heavily on their personal tragedies either. With that said, one of the things that I noticed is that all of the romantic progress between them seems to come when Inej is visibly injured slash hurt or, almost dead. I know everyone in this story gets hurt from time to time, but Inej clearly takes the most pain in both books, whether it's nearly getting killed in the first book, her legs almost getting destroyed in the second, or a chatty assassin, throwing stars at her. I get that, for her it's kind of, she's the one who's going to be put in the most positions to get hurt just because of her function in the group. It is an occupational hazard for her. So I'm not like upset that for the sake of the story she gets hurt. I think it just seems odd to me because it also seems often that her getting hurt is supposed to serve some function in the romantic storyline as well. Kaz's internal and external acknowledgments of his feelings for her often revolve around the times that she is imperiled. In the first book, it's, her near-death experience that kind of forces them both to acknowledge their feelings, but especially him. In the first book, it's her near-death experience that kind of first brings up his slightly more romantic side, which, it made sense. It wasn't, badly done or cheap or anything, but it as far as part of this pattern, when you then move on to the second book where it's her getting kidnapped and then her almost having her leg smashed, which makes him super angry, or then when she gets the stars thrown at her by the chatty assassin. Those really seems to be the linchpins of either romantic progress or non-progress between them. I mean, there is that amazing scene where he's basically tending to her wounds, and in some ways that's really cool because it's a reversal of the trope you see more often where it is a woman who's taking on the nurturing side and fixing a guy's wounds, and that's the romantic bonding. So in that way it is kind of flipped, and I love that scene in general, so I'm not upset about it. It's just, again, kind of that weird pattern, and I think part of why the last chapter where they to their last chapter together, part of what I love so much about it, part of that happy resolution to me that it gives to them both, is also that Inej comes into it happy, healthy, and even kind of lazy, and it set itself apart from the other times that they've remotely addressed their feelings for each other. So number two, let's talk about Matthias's death. Yeah, let's just go right into it. So I was sad when it happened. I mean, Matthias was a character who I really liked. He had clearly grown a lot over the books. There was a lot for him to work through. But it also seemed pretty clear to me about halfway through Crooked Kingdom that either he or Nina were gonna die. That phrase, no mourners, no funerals, it was repeated so many times, and yeah, it was repeated as a good luck phrase, but it was also clearly meant to illustrate that this is a group of friends who are in complete denial over the fact that they are friends. If you use that phrase, especially to show your point, the way that you illustrate, that they are in total denial is that you create a situation where there are mourners and there is a funeral. And couple that with the fact that Nina and Matthias were the first of the main couples to actually get past their shit and, get together, it was clear that it had to be one of them because the other characters still had some plot that they needed to work through. I don't know, this complaint might just be me being sad about his death, and so I'm trying to undermine it in any way possible. But I did kind of feel like having that expectation undercut the emotional impact of the scene. And I do kind of wish that there was kind of more to process from the other characters besides Nina and how they reacted to his death. There was some of it, but it felt a little bit abrupt for me. Number three, I don't know how I feel about Jurda or Yurda Param, the drug that makes Grisha super powerful. I think anytime you bring in some kind of all-powerful magical thing into a fantasy world, it can be kind of tricky to implement plot-wise. It's sort of like bloodbending in Avatar and The Legend of Korra, where like if you give some like this fictional power to these characters that lets them, you know, turn people into complete and total puppets, how do you come back from that? Like, especially in Korra, where that turned into being able to take away people's bending powers, those shows basically had to rely on an assumption that people aren't going to want to learn how to do these terrible things and then just kind of wave it away. And I think Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom sort of managed to figure it out by making the drug this like really addictive and thus ultimately terrible for Grisha, like making it very destructive to their own well-being. And there was also sort of this looming hope of an antidote, but I never really felt like I got a complete resolution on those factors either. It does feel like a thing where if the Grisha reverse is ever revisited, like there's still more to say about the drug. Number 4, this is my last thing. This is not really a complaint about the series. It's also not spoilery, so I don't know why I'm including this in this video, but it is kind of just a general discussion thing. I want more heist stories where the leader of the heists are women, or you know, more members of the heists are women. I love Leverage, the TV show. I love Ocean's 11. I love Kaz and Six of Crows. But like, oh my god, like wouldn't it be amazing if, like, I know that there's gonna be like some kind of like heist movie with women in it, like I feel like I've seen use of this, but there needs to be more of them. There's like this like really annoying John Mulaney thing that he would like bit, and I like John Mulaney, but he has this bit about how you would never see women heist movies because we would all like, I don't know, be passive aggressive about each other, which the number of boring stereotypes about women that joke relies on is already aggravating. But like, man, women would be so good at pulling a heist. Teamwork and shit, like that's what women are for. I don't know if I should be saying this, like I'm not planning to pull any heists soon, just in case you're wondering. But yeah, I think I want more female-led heists in the future. So, okay. Actually, I just thought of a last thing. Number 4 was gonna be my last one, but number 5. I want more of these characters. I want more of Nina going back to her army. I want more of, and I think I said this in my last video, but I want like Inej taking on the criminal, like taking on human traffickers with Kaz. I want Jesper and Wylan, I don't know, like running a household together and all of the hilarity that would ensue there. I also feel like, oh yeah, you know how there's that whole thing with Matthias and the wolf? Like, is there going to be a follow-up where Nina meets this wolf? Because that kind of felt like where that whole thing was coming in. Unless it was just to show that, like, Matthias is on his own. Kind of like the wolf. I don't know. I don't know if I have a place where I'm going to with that wolf thing. Okay, so I think those are my thoughts for now. If you want to talk about Crooked Kingdom, please do so, because I love the book so much and I have so many feelings about it, and I would love to talk more about it with people who also love talking about it. So, bye.